Good evening and welcome to 5 News with me, Sian Williams.
And me, Catherine Jones. Our headlines tonight.
Ukraine prepares to declare...
Also tonight, more weather warnings for parts of the UK.
We're in Hello. It's a country almost 2,000 miles away whose 44 million citizens are under threat from a Russian invasion. And it's asking the West to act now or risk repeating the mistakes of the past which led to world wars. Ukraine's preparing to declare a nationwide state of emergency and is bracing itself for an attack, saying various websites have already been targeted. Here, the PM has promised further military aid, although some say the measures don't go far enough. We'll have more on that in a moment. First, though, our chief correspondent, Tessa Chapman, is in the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. And Tessa, what's the latest from you there? Tessa, you've spent the day speaking to people there, as we heard. What else have they been telling you about just how they're feeling at the moment? Boris Johnson's promised more military aid for Ukraine, but is under increasing pressure over the UK's response, with critics, among them Labour, saying much more needs to be done now. Here's our political editor, Andy Bell. We heard that some critics are saying Britain needs to go a whole lot further. What further action could Boris Johnson take? Has had other issues on his mind at home, including the lifting of all COVID restrictions in England from tomorrow. Now, you might already have noticed that people have been behaving somewhat differently since the mask mandate was lifted. I want to hear if you'll still be taking your own precautions, don't we, Kathy?
Indeed, we do. Floods, a warning that scenes like this could become much more frequent.
Open and honest. Stay with us for that, but we'll see you after the break. Welcome back. This is 5 News, and this is our top story tonight. But now, the stalker of the British tennis star Emma Raducanu was sentenced today. Emma McGarr had walked 23 miles to her home, left bizarre gifts, and even stole her father's shoe as a souvenir. He was handed a 5-year restraining order. From Bromley Magistrates Court, Layla Hayes reports. Restrictions will be lifted in England, and that really caused a stir on Jeremy Vine this morning. Have a look at this. Indeed, plenty more callers, I'm sure, to Jeremy Vine over the next few weeks. And we've been asking how you're going to be reacting to the end of restrictions. Kathy's been monitoring the 5 phone. What's it saying, Kathy?
Well, I think a lot of caution out there, Sian, definitely. In a bit, we will hear from footballer Troy Deeney.
Ukrainian capital, Kiev, and that's where our chief correspondent, Tessa Chapman, is now. Tessa, those reports of a number of cyber attacks on Ukrainian websites this evening. What are you hearing there? Well, for weeks, the UK and the US have been warning of disinformation about what's happening in Ukraine and at its borders. This type of fake news is now even considered a weapon in a crisis like this. Julian Drucker is here. Julian, can you explain exactly what's going on here?
Hi, Sian. Well, they often say truth is the first casualty of war, and long before the troops moved into Eastern have been shared online, supposedly filmed with a helmet cam. We're supposed to see armoured vehicles doing something like that, for instance. Then there was this picture as well of the aftermath of a car bomb.
Obviously, Julian, both sides are using the power of the internet, aren't they?
Yes, Ukraine using the...
Thanks very much for that. Now... Thanks, George. OK, going to take a short break in a few minutes.
Welcome back. She has written a book called The Lost Cat, which has now been accepted by a publisher and printed. And so when Sian and I spoke to her and her mum a little earlier, we began by asking Bella to read us the opening lines. He's not going to listen to his mum. Now, a lot of children...
Central London, not the most beautiful things to look at, I don't think, are they, Kathy? You might be surprised to hear that's where tonight's high five has been discovered.
That's right, Sian. An extraordinary find by construction workers right next to the Shard building at London Bridge.
It'll be great, I think. That is it from us. We'll see you again tomorrow at 5.
Alex has the weather next. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.